Hello and welcome to Rudy's Retro Intel. On today's show we'll be looking at a product called a TinyComp. It is an RF to composite output modification you can add to your vintage computers and consoles. So let's take a peek inside and poke around. Here we have my Atari 2600 with the 6 switches. It's called a sixer or heavy sixer depending on who you talk to. And this one I have modified it to work with Composite. The back of the unit I've put in a couple of holes here. I put an RF cable connector and I marked them with an audio and Composite out. I've also left the RF modulator intact. So if you want, you can plug in both the television and the composite video for your viewing pleasure. That way you can see on two screens if you like. But I generally just use this because it's difficult to find an older TV or a modern TV that has an RF input. So that's this unit that's been modified. Let's look at some other examples. The other unit I've modified is this Timex Sinclair 1000. It's a very small computer, and I've modified this one too with the RF modulator. I put the TinyComp inside, and I've actually reused the RCA jack for it. I just labeled it so that for future I don't plug it into television directly. I can just remember that it's composite modified. No other changes done to the unit, and it works good. Final example I have is my Atari 600XL. This is 600XL, sold in the United States and Canada, only had an RF output. There's no composite. The European or the PAL version does have a connector for composite, although the North American, which is NTSC, only had an RF modulator. So on this one I've added a TinyComp and used the existing jack in the for the RF modulator, and I've made an additional port hole and put another connector here, an RCA connector for audio, so I can have both audio and video out. So let's open up the unit and take a peek inside. Here's the TinyComp board. It's very small, it's very simple. It's basically an audio amplifier. On it is only a couple components. The main one here is the transistor. It's a PNP2N22, a couple of resistors, a 2.2K, a 3K, and a 75 ohm resistor. And then we have outputs here for your ground. You have your plus 5 volts, your video in and video out. And to show how tiny it is, here's the size of, here's next to it is a Canadian quarter, which is about the same size as an American quarter. And you can see it's pretty tiny. It fits right on top. It's so small you can put it inside the actual RF modulator case without changing or destroying your RF modulator. You can modify it so that it's easily reversible, or you can put two-sided tape on it and you can put it somewhere else inside your computer, whatever you like. But this is why it's called a TinyComp. So let's peek inside one of the units. We'll look at the Atari 600XL and see how I implemented it. Okay, I have the Atari 600 opened up here. Basically it's 4 screws. There's a shield inside which I've left on. I'm not sure, if I'm debating if I should even bother putting it back or not. But here is the modded unit. Let me switch to the other camera so we can get a better view. Let's zoom inside here. Take a better look. So basically what I've done is I've assembled the unit and I've put the double-sided tape so it's actually on the back of the case, and I run some wires. One wire is running inside. Let me see if you can see that. One wire is running inside, which connects to the video RCA jack. The other one's running here. There's a ground wire here, which I've taken off this chip. The green wire is also another ground which goes to the audio jack. There's the plus 5 volts video in, video out, And as we pan over here, we can see the wires running from the actual RF modulator going to the back here, which is connected to the RCA jack for audio. So let's open up this case and I'll show you what's inside. Okay, so now we're going to open up this case. These are always fun to open. I don't know why, but there we go. Again, I'll switch to the other camera because it's probably a better view for you. Okay, and let's go free hand. So here we have basically the yellow wire here is going to the jack, the RF modulator, RCA jack. I've just cut the resistor and placed the wire inside here. That way, if I ever want to put an RF television connected to this again, I just basically solder that up and off you go. You could even put a small switch if you like on the outside, or use the switch that's built into the unit that has the channel select, and use that for selecting either RF and or composite. However, if you use that switch, then you won't be able to switch between channels 2 and 3. So now that you've seen the inside, let's put it back together and plug it in and see what it looks like. Okay, now that I've reassembled the unit, let's plug everything in. So on the back, I'm going to use red for composite and the white for audio. I think I have to put new stickers. These ones seem to be, this label maker, for some reason, these aren't sticking very well. Anyway, let's plug that in, and we will plug in the power. Power goes there. And I'm going to plug the power into the power bar. Okay, we've plugged in the monitor. Let's turn it on. Let's turn on the monitor. And we'll turn on our unit. And as you can see, we have the video output now coming in as composite. Let's do a little test program like everyone else does. So 10, print, Rudy's retro Intel 20 go to 10 and run. There we go. We have the composite out. Okay, now we're going to run the built-in diagnostics into the 600XL, and you get to that by holding down the option key and powering on. So let's switch over to the other camera and take a look. Now that buzzing sound you heard at the beginning is the loading of the program. I've had the volume a little higher on the monitor so that you can actually pick it up on the mic better. You can turn that down so you don't really hear that buzzing noise as much. So from here you have several tests. You have a memory test. You have the audio and video test and keyboard test, or all the tests. So for our purposes, we're going to do the audio and video. It's nothing spectacular, but it works. So let's press start. And it's going to display notes that it's playing the different voices. As you can see, the color's right, the video looks correct, and the sound is just fine. So basically, I think our unit is working just as expected, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we can see that I've loaded up a game called Munch Madness, as you can hear it. So we know the audio is working well. I'm going to swing the camera over now to the monitor, which is running the RetroTink, so you can get a better view. You don't get the glare. So let's start. And this game, you have to pick up the hearts, but you have to be careful of the rocks because they fall down. So And so the sound's working fine. The video works fantastic. I'm very happy. Too busy yakking, not enough playing. The video looks fine. Again, this is on the RetroTink with my LCD monitor, and I'll swing it back so you can see it on the. This is my Composite monitor. This is a Commodore monitor. I like it. It's very good, excellent color and sound. And like I said, the sound portion is working, but my playing skills is not. So where can you get the TinyComp? The TinyComp is available now at Joe's Computer Museum, which is jcm-1.com. Click under shop. You'll find all kinds of interesting retro hardware, and you'll find the TinyComp here. There's a picture of the TinyComp on a Canadian $2 coin, which is called a toonie. Here is the same unit sitting on an American quarter. Again, look how tiny it is. The same size as a Canadian quarter. Here's a unit you can get as an assembled unit or as a kit version. Well, that's it for today's show. Hopefully you found it interesting. Visit jcm-1.com for more on the TinyComp. Joe also has other services and products available on his site. Thank you, Joe, for all your help on this one, and all my subscribers and viewers like yourself. This really helps me to grow my channel, and hopefully to see you on the next one. Take care.